quickly.
Oh, yes. Welcome to the Second Line Show. I'm your host, Nola Nash. Let's let the good times roll. Hi, welcome to the Second Line Show. I am Nola Nash. I am your host for this evening with a motley crew of some of my dear friends who have joined me to celebrate Halloween and the launch of Crescent City Sin, whose official launch day is today. So we're going to do like New Orleans, baby. We gonna party because that's what we do. We look for any excuse to dress up, put on fun clothes, crazy makeup, and have a party. So, we're decking it out here. I've got, my background, the lights. We're having a good time. I've got wine, and I have my mug that Mike and I have talked about before. It says, "The West, oh honey, I'm the Wicked Witch of everything." Because my two things that I say all the time are, "Oh honey, no," and "well, shit." Those are my phrases. And, at some point, I'm going to get a mug that says the other one. But not my "oh honey, no" mug. So we are going to have some fun today telling ghost stories and ghost experiences. Christine Gabriel is going to be joining us here soon. I've got Elgon Williams, Mike Eberhardt, Robyn, Roste, and Laura Kemp. And I've had the privilege and it's such fun to be a guest on Laura's page today in Kemp, hanging out with all of her folks there. And it's been truly a blast having lots of company for my launch party over at Kemp. And you guys got to go over there if you have not been part of Kemp before. Absolutely go check it out. Lots of fun. We've been doing some giveaways over there. And so I'm posting this banner here to remind you to leave a comment or question as we go along. We will touch on some of those as we can. And I've got some giveaways coming up today for commenters. And so I will post those for you. And let you know what I need you commenting about to enter those giveaways and what they are for. So it's my party, but you get the presents. And that is how we do things here on the Second Line. All right, so I've got Elgon Williams over here. Elgon, why don't you tell the folks a little bit about yourself? I know you've been here before, but for the folks who don't know you, go ahead and introduce yourself, my friend.
Well, first of all, I'm Santa's demented uncle. I've actually had kids come up to me and ask me if I was Santa Claus since I had the beard out. So,
how cute!
I love it. I love it. Now, Elgon, your writing tends to verge a bit on the fantastical. To borrow a word from Poe, the phantasmagoric. I was reading Fall of the House of Usher this week, and he used that word several times in it, the phantasmic and phantasmagoric. And I was like, I know somebody who writes like that.
Oh, yeah.
It's Elgon. We need to use that word with Elgon. And so that's kind of your world. And you've got a
magical realism. Yeah,
yes, your magical realism. And you pull in New Orleans in your writing as well. And you do it in a very interesting way. Tell us a little bit about that.
Well, in the second book of the Fried Windows series, there's a alternate universe version of New Orleans. And there's ghosts and people that end up there working and living side by side. And the people are, like they are on the lam hiding from the law. So they go to this alternate universe to get away. And the alternate universe is run by a drag queen.
I love it.
And
perfect.
And she passes judgment on whether people can actually stay there or not. And there are some people that get turned away because they're not good enough to be there. And the ghosts are pretty much employed. That's how they work. And the people don't want to leave there because they don't like their prospects in either going to purgatory or heaven in the afterlife, and they don't want to take their chances, and they like New Orleans. So, I'll stay here.
I think that's true of every spirit that has ever haunted New Orleans. They just want to stay. Sometimes they're forced there, but I think a vast majority of the ghosts that haunt that city just really like it there. I mean, I feel that way. I have full intention of haunting New Orleans when I go. That's sort of my afterlife plan. I don't have much of a plan for my actual life, but I know exactly how I'm spending my afterlife. I feel I have more control over that. Mike, you've been on the show again. This is not your first rodeo here with us, but for the folks that are new, go ahead and let them know who you are, what you do, and introduce them to your artist soul.
Hey everybody, I'm Mike Eberhardt. I'm a voiceover artist. I do a lot of audiobook narration. I'm just narrating my 15th audiobook right now. It is called The Unraveling of Brendan Meeks. Look for it in a couple months.
Oh, I love
I'm so excited about it. This is a murder mystery based around a schizophrenic person, and he thinks the whole murder of his sister is a conspiracy and a cover-up, and he goes to investigate with the help of his friends, but you never know if it's real or if it's just happening in his mind. And I'm having a fantastic time with this book. But anyway, that's who I am. I'm a voiceover artist and audiobook narrator. Thanks for joining us today.
All right. And coming up also, we have, I'm going to just kind of go down here to Robyn. Robyn, let the folks know who you are, my dear.
Hello. Well, I mean, if you can't tell, I'm a cruiser, so I'm super happy to be here.
I love it.
But in real life, I live near Vancouver, Canada, and I'm a nonfiction writer, and I write about marketing and freelance writing. And so I'm working on a book right now called Marketing for Freelance Writers. So it's pretty self-explanatory.
Love a title that tells you what you're going to get, especially with nonfiction. Like that's, I need to know what I'm looking for. So self-explanatory titles are the way to go. I love that. And Laura Kemp, welcome back, my love.
Hey!
And let the folks know who you are, my dear.
Well, I'm Laura Kemp, and I am a cowboy and an Indian tonight. Chiefs volleyball game. I'm also a writer, and I write fiction. I'm kind of like Elgon, I think, magical realism. And my debut novel is Evening in the Yellowwood, which I don't have because I never have my book. But I have Nola's.
There you go. That's an author that supports other authors, right?
Thank you. I never have my own book either. I actually had to make a conscious effort tonight to have them. I've got both of them even. I was like, look at me go. I actually have both of them.
Annie will be beside herself.
I know. She's always so mad at me on these shows because I never promote my own books. It's like, it's your show. Talk about your book. You give yourself 20 seconds of promotion. I'm just like, well, it's okay. I've got other people. They've got things to talk about too. So for you, Annie McDonald, they're both here. We're going to talk about Crescent City Moon today and Crescent City Sun.
No Annie Rath tonight.
I know. She's going to be so happy, so proud of me. Guys, as you are making your comments, there's one thing that I've noticed is that I can't see everybody's names. So when we get to parts where you're going to have to comment, oh, yay, Christine's here. When we get to parts where you're commenting to enter a contest, make sure that you put your name in the comments so that I can go back and see who you are. Hey, Christine, just in time. We were doing introductions. You've made it, my love. Tell everyone a little bit about yourself here. Oh, no. Better late than never. Tell us a little bit about yourself. What do you write? Who have you decided to be today?
Thank you.
Nope. Christine, are you here?
Are you here as Chewbacca?
Hi, everybody. I'm Christine Gabriel. I'm the author of Crimson Forest. Okay. My name is Christine Gabriel. Oh,
you're fine.
I think her internet's
Oh, yeah, she's on a little bit of lag. She'll be back. That, ladies and gentlemen, is the mysterious, magical, disappearing. Yes.
Was she real or a ghost? I don't know.
I don't know. Who knows? And who really knows with Christine too? She's writes spooky things too. So Who knows? One of the things that we are here to do tonight, other than celebrate the launch of Crescent City Sin, because it's Halloween or almost Halloween. I mean, for me, Halloween starts, I don't know, Labor Day. The decorations start going up. It's like, oh, good, we got all that other summer stuff out of the way. Let's go, Halloween. I look forward to Halloween like a lot of people look forward to Christmas as they're counting the days. You know, it's a really big deal in my house. And of course, you know, the types of books that I write, it's no surprise to anyone that Halloween is my favorite holiday. So I love to celebrate it. It's kind of a downer this year with trick-or-treating weirdness. And as much as I would love to go chuck candy at small people in costumes, I think we're going to actually just watch Hocus Pocus.
Are you not allowed to throw candy at people anymore? Is the pandemic changed?
What is the world coming through?
I didn't think that was an issue. What if I wear gloves? Can I throw it at them then?
There you go. What I wanted to do was make like little packages of candy into like little balls and tape them up and put them into like the Nerf bazooka and just
like a t-shirt cannon. You just
that thing out. Like a t-shirt cannon. I thought this was a brilliant idea.
People will go crazy.
I was outvoted. I thought also what we could do is, you know, get the neighborhoods together and we could all set out lawn chairs on our lawn like we were waiting on, you know, the parade to come by and let the children just walk down and we throw stuff and, you know, whatever they catch.
Oh, I got an idea.
Mardi Gras parade happening here. Like I had ideas.
You could have the cards that you hold up, you know, to rate their costumes, you know.
Oh, yeah.
That's a 10. 9
I love it. Can I be the mean German judge? I guess I'd be like a 4.
Holding it upside down. Oh, yeah.
Right, totally. Just not into it.
9. I mean, a 6. We could really
not so good. Back home, we could many better costumes.
Love it. See, if I had a neighborhood made up of you people, we could have pulled this thing off.
That would be a terrifying neighborhood. Can you imagine?
Can you imagine if we all lived next to each other? It would be terrible.
Yeah. It would be impossible. It would be impossible though, because every neighborhood has that one weird neighbor, right? Well, we would have all of us.
All the weird neighbors.
Right. After reading some of your books, I think every single house in that neighborhood could be kind of a weird one.
And we would love it.
They put a warning sign outside of the neighborhood.
Right.
Enter at your own risk.
They've got one on my house. Pay no attention to the voices.
Maybe harmful to your sanity.
Okay, so legit story. I did have to text my neighbor to let him know I'd be yelling things that sounded dangerous with a French accent, like "Help me! I'm trapped. My arm hurts. I'm stuck." And that was a pretty funny day.
Can your neighbors hear you through the walls when you're doing your audiobooks?
They can when I'm shouting. If I'm really loud, yeah.
Oh,
that's like Rachel Sharp's new book. You haven't read that one yet, Mike. But Rachel
no, you know
Sharp's
me. I don't read the book in advance.
She has a new character in there that is an actress, and she practices. So they'll have like screams and hillbilly yells and things like that come through the walls.
Oh my gosh, that's fantastic!
Prepare your neighbors.
Can't wait to send that text. No, a hillbilly did not move in next door to you. I'm doing the book.
Both of them.
I love it. Well, we are going to tell some ghost stories today. Ghost encounters, close encounters of the dead kind, all of those things. And as we go along, while we're talking, feel free to chime in, commenters, whether it is live or later on in the comments. I do go back and check, and I know a lot of my guests always go back to the comments. We are live in several places tonight, so there's lots of folks that have the opportunity to chime in. But the very first contest that we are going to be doing is for some Crescent City swag for both Crescent City Sin and Crescent City Moon, backing things up and giving you a nice little treat bag for Halloween. So all you have to do is in the comments, tell me what your favorite Halloween treat is. This can be your favorite Halloween candy, party food, cocktail, whatever that you look forward to nibbling on Halloween, whether it's raiding your kids' candy and stealing all the good stuff, or those cute little treats that you make every year, or the things that you bring to the parties. I know for my family, we always make Tootsie Pop ghosts. That's been our thing since I was a little kid. And my sister-in-law just sent me a picture of my nephews sitting down at the table to do it. We take white napkins and we rubber band it on top of a Tootsie Pop. And then we draw little ghost faces on them. And we always stick them into a pumpkin that we've poked holes into. And so the kids can pull a ghost out that they like when they trick or treat. So the nephews are making the Tootsie Pop ghosts this year, but that's our thing. So that's kind of our favorite little Halloween treat is making the Tootsie Pop ghosts every year. Those would hurt if I shot them from the bazooka cannon. And so it would have to be soft if I did that. Yeah. So probably not a good idea to bazooka fire Tootsie Pops.
Come on, Nola.
I don't know.
A little.
Yeah, it's all fun and games till somebody pokes an eye out.
Right, somebody loses an eye.
Exactly. I mean, they have to. We have to set up a whole table where they have to sign a waiver before.
Oh my gosh! Can you imagine? Welcome to your Halloween festivities. Please sign a waiver.
Exactly.
Please sign a waiver.
Haunted house down.
Totally.
You may use your own blood to sign.
Responsible for death or injury resulting in Tootsie Pop cannon shot.
Fine print, standing behind.
I totally got to get the lawyers out for that.
Fabulous, absolutely fabulous. What is with you people in the Reese's peanut butter cups? Y'all,
Oh, that's my favorite.
Ooh, peanut butter cups are the best. They're so good.
Yeah.
Got great.
Nola doesn't like Reese cups.
I hate them. They're the best.
Am I the only one that
She
thinks the
doesn't-
mini cups taste different?
She doesn't
than the
like
full-size
Nutella
ones?
They
either.
do.
Right?
They taste so different.
They're totally different. Like, I don't know if the chocolate to peanut butter ratio is different or what is the story, but
agree.
they're
I
totally
think
different.
it's the chocolate ratio is different because it's thicker because it's a little cup thing, and so you actually have more of the peanut butter and more of the thicker chocolate. I don't know. It is a different thing, but I don't like the gritty peanut butter. Like if I'm gonna have peanut butter, it needs to be a lot
You
smoother.
like that smooth.
So I do. I like crunchy peanut butter where it's
For that gentleman, she
actually
likes it smooth.
but don't be gritty peanut butter.
It tastes so good.
Have the little Reese bits in it.
Reese's pumpkins, you know what I'm
Ooh.
talking about?
What? Reese's
Yeah.
pumpkin?
Oh,
It's like
I
a
like
Halloween
Reese's.
peanut butter situation with a pumpkin?
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
Reese's probably so.
Is
pumpkin.
it good or is it terrifying? I can't tell. Is it good or terrifying?
The Reese's peanut butter pumpkins?
The pumpkin one, yeah.
Yeah,
There's
they
There's
should,
like a lot more peanut butter in there.
It's like powdered
It
sugar.
is.
It's like peanut butter balls that you get at Christmas. It's that kind of.
Ooh.
I'm a fan of this one. I'm a sucker for a Snickers. I love Snickers.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you, I went through my entire senior year of high school existing primarily on Dr. Pepper and Snickers. So we go.
It explains a lot.
It does,
There
right?
it is.
It explains the figure like a Quaker Oats container and lots of other things. Like, it's how I became cylindrical was the Dr. Pepper and Snickers.
How I became cylindrical. It's
Yeah,
like a
yeah.
geometric self-biography.
They need to put that warning on the cans. If you continue to drink it, your figure will be like the can.
You will be cylindrical. I mean, it's the way it happens. It's happened to me. I don't know. But but I used to eat them in layers. Like it was like I wouldn't just bite into the candy bar. I would eat the top layer off, like the peanuts, and then the caramel.
Get out of
and
here,
then
really?
the candy bar. I would eat
On a
them in
Snickers bar? No way. I've heard people do that on pizza. Like they pick the toppings off the pizza. You're doing that with a whole Snickers bar?
Yes,
Like
I do
eat
this
all the
thing.
peanuts at one time? And then eat like all the caramel at one time? Wow, that's crazy to me.
How do you eat it? Yeah, like
Yeah, there, Laura's got it. Yeah, like a little typewriter.
It's like corn up the back.
Corn. Yeah, I eat it like a corn on the cob.
Yeah.
I do the same thing with a Twix. I'll eat the top, the caramel
I do
bar
that.
off the Twix, and then I eat the cookie bar.
Really?
And I'll do the same thing with
Oreo situation.
I
Like,
that too.
how do you deal with Oreos? I'm assuming
all
They
I have to eat those. Those are hard.
you pop it and you have the icing and then the 2 cookies. With,
I
Yeah,
scrape
there's
the cream off.
probably
I don't even eat the cream. I just eat the cookies.
there's probably a psychologist somewhere writing down notes about
I know,
it.
right? I know.
Everything you need to know about Nola.
lots of feelings about candy.
A big feeling.
Big feeling. I don't like icing on the
It with a
cake.
scarf.
I
You know what a pumpkin
scrape it all
Reese's is.
off. Yes, no Reese's, no icing on cakes. Don't give me the Oreo cream. I do not want your double stuff because I'm just scraping it up anyway. I have very strong feelings about my sweets. And apparently my wine. So buckle up, people.
It's already blown my mind. No icing on cake? What is happening?
No icing on cake. I would rather powdered sugar or something on the top of a cake. It's too much sweet. It's like, I like the cake, but there's too much. The icing is just too much.
A cake with no icing is so 2020 to me. That is so 2020. Where's your cake? Sorry, no icing.
My dad was eating a slice of my birthday cake one time, and the icing broke off and fell on the floor. And he says, "Shoot, that's the best part."
I love this. Nancy says it's true confessions. Oh my God. I mean, we've got yes, it is. We're all over the place today. You don't just hang on.
Confessionals.
You don't ever know what my show's going to be about. We've established this. I start off
always a risk. I didn't get a script, so we're just doing it.
Always a risk. Christine Davis is here. Hey, Christine. Love it when you come and hang out. Thank you so much. Thank you for coming. So, ghost stories, as we veer away from my extreme penis that I didn't realize I had until just recently, like 5 minutes ago. So ghost stories, ghost encounters. I know. Awkward. Thanks, Mike. We have Elgon and Christine and I were talking on their show about my trip to New Orleans, and I'll fill you guys a little bit in on that. And if you've watched the video that Elgon posted on NOLA Second Line, then you've heard some of that story as well. So we'll recap a little bit of that. And Christine, I have the other video. I have a little clip of the other video with the orbs for you, and I have the chandelier video, a little bit of that. So we've got some video clips to go with that. Some of the actual Close Encounters of the Dead kind that I got to have at the Lafitte Hotel. And we'll talk about that. But how do I eat donuts? Whole first. That's whole.
As often as I can. Oh, you said how?
Yes.
Sorry.
Oh, that was with you, Mike.
The Mike's very
We're going to start
skinny.
talking about donuts next. Hi, and welcome to the Mike Food Show. Today we're going to talk about random junk food.
Yes.
We're going to talk about something everyone loves. Random.
No. We're here to talk about ghosts and books. What's happening?
I know. We're not going to talk about random junk food and the weird ways we eat it, or I eat it,
love
I guess.
It's so funny.
I don't know. I mean, I'm used to eating square donuts, the beignets, right? So the round ones, that's a new thing. No, I've always had both. I just choose a shape. That's all.
In New Orleans, you have the random ghosts that hide the junk food from you.
Those ghosts were nutritionists in their life, and they feel
They're like, no.
They're just
Those
like
ghosts believe in a diet with full transparency. Yep, that just happened, folks. Is there a mute button just for me? You should be looking for it. You should be looking for it.
Noel's got the button.
When you need it. Oh my God. I'm so glad I invited you all on this show. All right, so we've talked about the Lafitte Hotel, and we will get to that. But I know you guys have got stories to tell as well. I know that Laura Kemp's got some stories. Christine, I've heard a couple of yours that I'm hoping that you will share as well. Oh, we're cheering up Christine in the Oklahoma ice storm. Yay!
Yay!
Glad we can, warm you up with
no electricity.
Yes, I mean, it's cold. Warm up, laugh a lot, drink some wine. It seems to be helping me.
Wine always works.
Yeah,
I don't know.
What's my drinking?
Mike is they have power outages throughout the storm.
I'm never going to talk about what I'm drinking. I'm not talking about that.
Water.
I like that
Mike's
you're
a water
following it. I'm typically a water drinker, yeah.
Water and decaf coffee, that's Mike's go-to. He's like gourmet coffee man. He makes the most beautiful coffee drinks. I know, no caffeine.
Yeah, imagine this on caffeine.
Really-
It's terrifying, you guys. So, no caffeine over here.
You don't need it, do you?
No.
I don't drink coffee.
No high octane. Yeah, no, Christine, it's like ridiculously cold for October. Is it usually 37 degrees? That's too cold.
That's even cold for Michigan a little bit, although we were 40 the other day.
It's already been in the 30s overnight in Vegas. So
I think it's like the 40s here in Ohio.
Might be a cold winter.
40s, yeah.
It is way too cold. No.
I think we get below 70.
LA weather.
No.
Cushy.
That's a first world problem.
Like Christine did this, like I'm so proud of myself for being able to read these things. If I get your quote wrong, it's because I have in my contacts and not my glasses. So I may eventually put them back on, but you know.
Ooh, the glasses look nice.
Yeah,
they're like,
you can keep those on. Yeah, sure.
Readers. They're my readers. I don't know.
I have my glasses too, but the glare.
Magnify your
I can't there's a glare, and then I can't I can't read what you guys are talking about. I'm old, folks. You know, only because I'm Gucci can you not really tell. And I've spray painted the car turquoise tonight, so just bear with me while I squint at my phone
the whole time.
I know, it's a light right in my face. It's like all you can see is either the ring light or the square from the.
I thought about dressing up as a zombie, but I thought I would get all the blue tempera paint all over my carpet, you know, so.
That would be good. I wake up as a zombie every single day. The effort does not look like that. That's really where the work comes.
My nephew and I they had Dawn of the Dead playing at a local movie theaters back when I lived in Clearwater, Florida, and we decided we were going to go. They had the midnight movie showing.
Oh,
and
fun!
Like every Friday night they showed that movie, and my nephew and I went to see it every Friday night.
Oh,
so and, I mean he loved that movie. He eventually bought it on DVD, and we went dressed up as zombies, and we were in full character. We didn't speak, you know, with the tickets or anything. We went up to the window, and the lady goes, which movie do you want to see? And we just pushed the money across. She goes, oh, okay, I know. and we went in. We went in the theater, and we went early so that we would be down front. So we went down front, and we didn't talk to each other or anything. We just stared ahead. And people came in, and they couldn't see us real well because they already had the lights dimmed. And, you know, some people looked at us and everything else. And toward the end of the show, then, you know, when they started running credits, we got up out of our seats and started walking up the aisle. And there was a couple of stoners in the back who were going, oh, my God.
You probably scared the crap out of them.
Somehow we didn't break up laughing. We were totally in got into my car. My nephew just said, oh my God, that was so funny.
I love it. All right, so Christine, I'm going to throw to you because I know that you've got some interesting ghost stories to tell. I'm going to let you start us off with one of your creepy stories. I know you lived in a haunted house for a while, didn't you?
Yes.
Just like Laura did.
Yes. So my mom and dad still live there. The house is in Monroeville, Ohio. It's a little village. And the house was built in like 1804. It was part of the Underground Railroad. So there is a hidden room behind. We have a spiral staircase. And there's a hidden room that they found when they were remodeling. And it was full of like old clothes, and it was full of old money and old newspapers.
Oh, wow.
So, yeah. So one night I got really sick, and I woke up in the middle of the night, and my mom was a collector of antiques. So I had this old rocking chair in my bedroom, and in this rocking chair was an older lady, and she was sitting there in this beautiful old like gown. Her hair was up, and she just looked at me and she said, "You're gonna be okay. You'll be all right. Now go back to sleep." So I fell back asleep, and a couple hours later I woke up. I must have had a fever. I was very thirsty, and I wanted water, but I couldn't go downstairs to get it because I was too tired, I was too weak. And all of a sudden, I seen all these different people around me, and they were from all different eras. They were all wearing different kinds of clothing, and they carried me downstairs. When I woke up in the morning, I was laying on the couch with a glass of water next to me. I swear.
Oh wow! That's
Awesome.
awesome.
Yeah.
And you wonder why she writes horror books.
Well,
go figure.
I thought they were kind of sweet to you, though.
They were nice. They were very nice. Now, Laura, you and I talked about you had a grumpy ghost, but that's surely not the only. Your cranky ghost is not the only ghost story you had. That one was funny too. I mean, not funny, but funny.
I lived in I'm remarried, but when I was married to my first husband, we lived in an old farmhouse out on a lake that's kind of close to where I live right now. I think it was built in like 1850. So, can you guys still hear me?
Yeah, we can totally hear you. We're just
the sound went funny. And the creepiest thing, I would hear like children laughing. I would hear my name sometimes, especially when I was going through my divorce and I was really stressed and there's a lot of negative energy around me. I heard Laura. I would hear that a lot.
Oh my gosh, that's terrifying.
Yeah, I was so, I don't know, I was in such a bad place emotionally that I was kind of just like, whatever. Bring it. And then I just go over and go to sleep, you know? I would hear footsteps in my daughter's room. My one daughter that this cranky ghost would pick on. Now, it's kind of funny because I named the main character in my book, Evening in the Yellowwood, Cook. And it was based on the Cook family that had originally owned this house that I lived in. So we gave the cranky old man the name Mr. Cook because I figured he was the guy. And he would come in if my daughter was watching a show and it was loud. He would go, "Be quiet." She would see him, but
No
she would
way.
hear, "Be quiet." And then when she was up in her room, where we would hear the footsteps, he would say, "Wake up." He was just
my God.
kind of a jerk. He was kind of a jerk. So I had a little heart to heart with Mr. Cook and told him to leave my kid alone, or he was going to.
That's a good idea.
He's going to have to deal with me, and he has since, because my daughter still goes to this house to see her dad on the weekends that he has them. That Mr. Cook has since left her alone. But the creepiest story, because it's kind of like Christine's, it was actually like I would call the full-bodied apparition that you would see, was my other younger daughter was sleeping in her bed. She was really small, maybe 3 or 4. And she looked across the hall, and across the hall she could see her brother's room in the bed. And she saw a little boy lying in that bed. It wasn't her brother.
Oh, my.
And he had she said his hair was wet, and it looked like he was dead.
Yikes.
So she called him Statue Boy for a long time because he was.
That's scary.
He was
He was so pale?
Yeah, he was gray and cold like a statue.
Wow.
And she laid in bed so scared because this was during the day. She was taking a nap. She was too scared. I was downstairs. She got out of bed eventually.
Just turn on another light.
Still
Good idea, Sharon.
I wondered if she had made it up because she can be a little actress. But to this day, I said, "Okay, is Statue Boy real?" And she goes, "Yeah, Mom. He had wet hair, like he'd been swimming or he had drowned.
Yeah.
Slicked back, and he was laying in her brother's bed looking at her."
Oh, that's creepy.
Wow.
That's scary.
Yeah, so we did a little sage in that room because that room, the brother's room, was always the weird room in the house. I just had the weird feelings in there. That's where I felt like the things were coming from. So we did a little saging in that room. But when she goes, she does, because she's still in the same room. Her brother's room is still across the hall. She always shuts the door.
Yeah.
The
little salt down.
Down.
Yeah, I did research on the house, and there was never any little boy who had died there that I knew of. But it's so old, like 1850, who knows? We have a pond on the property. Maybe something happened there that I didn't know about, that I wasn't. But yeah, so my kids have had some interesting experiences in that old farm, but they still love the house. They still go, and And I've taught him that, if you want him to go, you tell him to go and you're in charge. So they don't have to be terrified of that kind of stuff. But yeah,
I think kids are more receptive to it.
Yeah.
And that's kind of the thing is they're more open to it. They're not as jaded. My son, when we first moved to Nashville, we lived on a Civil War battlefield and just a neighborhood that had been built on top of the battlefield. And he was not quite 2 years old when we moved into that house. So he turned 2 not long after we moved there. And he would never want to stay in his bed. He would never want to stay in his room. He was always trying to leave and get out. We would baby gate him in because we didn't want him roaming the house in the middle of the night, as little as he was, and if we were asleep. And he would stand there at the baby gate and shake it and scream. And we were like, what? Why won't you stay in your bed? He's literally climbing out of a crib. Like we weren't going to put him in a bed because he's literally climbing out. And finally we decided we didn't want him landing on his head. So we put him in a toddler bed. And he's still standing there screaming. And finally, he described to us what he saw. And it was a man in a uniform. And he said, that angry man. I don't like that angry man. And he described the clothes of a Civil War soldier that was standing there glaring at him. And so he didn't like the angry man and he wanted to go in our room. So, 2 years old, he didn't know anything about the Civil War. He didn't know anything about that, but that's what he described. And then my ex-husband in the middle of the night one night woke up and he's like beating on me to wake up because he saw a little girl. And I saw just kind of the shadow of her going as I woke up, standing in what would have been, kind of like the back wall of the house, kind of in the corner. And she was wearing a white dress with a pink scarf around, like a sash around it. But she was terrified. She was standing there just like afraid. And we realized she was hiding from the man. She was hiding in that room from that man. So she was scared of him too. And so we never gated that door again. We always let him, come out, and if he needed to leave that room, then. And I think she appeared in that moment just to let us know that his fears were valid. That there's a reason he's afraid, because we were kind of just discounting them. But I think when we saw that, it was like, oh, okay, we're not going to trap him in that room with the angry man anymore. With the angry man will like me. He would do these little baby words and this little baby mouth and just little scared. The angry man don't like me. I don't like the angry man. So that was scary. Yeah, and so kids, I think, pick up on that kind of thing. There's lots of stories of children, my own children especially. There's Luna has a story too about singing to an angel in a laundry basket that couldn't go to sleep. She'd never been to church in her life. She was very, very tiny. I had no idea what an angel was, but she said that angel is sleepy and it can't go to sleep by singing it a song. And she sat there and sang to an empty laundry basket for like 15 minutes. This little song that she had made up, and just squatted down there, little bitty baby, just toddler, squatted down by that laundry basket and singing to an angel that couldn't go to sleep. That was cute.
Yeah, that's cute.
So way better than the scary man, the angry man in the Civil War uniform. That was not a pleasant one. But, it's interesting what kids actually pick up on.
It is.
Yeah, it really is.
Absolutely.
Yep. I'm going to, for just a second, I'm going to put our next giveaway up before we continue on with everyone's stories. So we are in costume today. And we are having a virtual costume party. But if you are going to go to a virtual costume party, what are you going as? So use your imagination. What would you like to go as if you could go as anything to a virtual costume party? So put your comments to win an ebook of your choice. And I'm going to say ebook of your choice because if you have read Crescent City Moon, and you would like an ebook of Crescent City Sin, then that is the one that you can request. If you have not read Crescent City Moon, you definitely want to start with that one first. So I don't want to give you a book that doesn't do you any good. So if you haven't read it, you will need Crescent City Moon first. So that is our giveaway now. So if you were going to go as anything, put in the comments what you would go to a virtual costume party dressed as. All right, so the ladies, let's finish out with Robyn. Robyn, do you have any ghost stories that you want to tell?
I have one creepy story, and I'm judging myself by the creepiness level. I feel like it's maybe not as creepy, but I'm going to tell it.
Oh, they're all creepy.
I even went through the like subreddit on creepy encounters to see to kind of see if anyway, there's a lot of stories out there. This is mine. So when I think I was early 20s, I went traveling with a friend and we were going around Mexico, and we were going to visit my friend, and we thought we had kind of instructions, but we didn't really have like a really good grasp of Spanish language or really directions. We really didn't know where we were going, but we knew we had to get on a bus, so we got on a bus. Anyway, long story short, we got on the wrong bus. We're going to the wrong place. So we got off the bus and we're totally lost in some city. It was getting dark. And these two young, kind of, I guess, teenage boys came up to us. They didn't speak any English. We didn't speak any Spanish. And we kind of gestured to each other what we needed. And they just kind of said, follow us, or gestured to follow us. And we did, because we really didn't know what else to do. We were terrified. We followed them and kind of made our own plans. Like, what are we going to do? Like, let's say they want to take us somewhere scary. What are we going to do? Making our plans to escape. Anyway, they ended up taking us to a bus station, and they actually figured out how to order tickets for us. And we realized we're all going to the same place. We all celebrated. They took us to the place. They walked us to our destination. And like, my friend was waiting there for us. We were hours and hours late. And she said, where have you guys been? Where have you been? And so we explained what had happened. And these two young boys came and helped us. And she said, what boys? And there was like nobody with us.
My gosh.
Like, I swear they were there.
You're a guardian angel. I love that.
Yeah.
It was crazy.
That's a great one.
That is a great story. That has definite creep to it. That qualifies. That totally qualifies. Absolutely. It might have ended well, but you didn't know it was going to.
Wow.
Right?
That's awesome.
It was terrifying. It could have gone wrong, but yeah, it did not. It went totally fine.
That's awesome. Mike, Elgon, what about you?
The only ghost stories I have involve my dating life, so we probably shouldn't talk about it.
Good job.
You've dated ghosts?
Just horror stories, right?
I've got a character in that book I was talking about earlier that, he actually brings back two ghosts with him to New Orleans. They're ghosts of ladies that have died that he used to date. So.
Whoa, that's creepy. That'd be an interesting book. That's really creepy.
All right, Mike,
so
what's
I
your
actually
story?
do have a story. So my story goes, in high school, a bunch of us got together and we watched this horror movie, which was new at the time. I think it was called Witchboard. And it was all about a Ouija board. And it was really terrifying when you're 16 years old, like the scariest thing you've ever seen. But of course, we're terrified. So what do we want to do? We want to go get a Ouija board, right? That's what we did. So obviously we did. So we did. We got it. We're doing the little Ouija things. It's telling us ridiculous things and telling us scary stuff. And it's real spooky and yada, yada, yada. Everybody goes home. We do this Ouija board thing for a couple of weeks. And we watch Witchboard a couple of times. And all of us are starting to get kind of freaked out. There was a big windstorm, just like what we just had here in Southern California. It's a huge windstorm. And right after that, it got really weird. None of my friends lived by me in high school. I was living with my parents, a normal situation. I would get ready to go to school in the morning and I'd lock the door and the phone would ring. And so I would go back in to answer. I'd be like, hello, hello, and there would not be anybody there. That happened to me probably 5 days a week for at least a month. I would get to my car, put the key in the car, and the phone would ring. You could hear it. I could hear it from the driveway ring. I'm like, that is really creepy. There was never anybody there when I went back in to grab it, and there was nobody living around. We didn't have cell phones. This is back in like 1987. So, I don't know how it happened or what it was, but it was super freaking creepy. And I'm so glad that my cell phone never rings. You will only hear it vibrate because part of me kind of jumps a little when I hear a phone ring.
I bet. Understandably so.
Great.
Understandably so. Well, maybe that, spirit just had something else to say and was waiting on you to break out the Ouija board again. It's like, dude,
creepy.
We're not done with this conversation. You hung up too quick.
Right? Yes. Oh my gosh, I didn't think about that. That's creepy.
Yeah. Might have had something else to tell you. That's all. Prank ghost calls, Christine says. Yeah.
Totally, yeah, for
Prank
sure.
ghost. I mean, the ghost can have a sense of humor, right?
Right, totally. Hello, who's there? Boo, boo hoo. Stop crying.
All of a sudden you
Just
hear,
mute me now.
you
Just
hear
mute me now.
Adele.
Mute
Hello
me
from
now.
the other side.
Ooh.
I like it. I love it. Now, Elgin, you grew up in a haunted house, or your farmhouse. You had
There was a-
headstones for stairs, for steps, your front steps.
Yeah, that was a farm that my dad bought. Yeah, but I got an even creepier story. My brother,
Do tell.
my brother died when he was 8 years old. And it was about 11 years before I was born, and my sisters probably wouldn't be alive if that hadn't happened, because my parents were thinking about only having one kid, and then my dad wanted a son to replace the son that he lost. And they had given up trying after my younger of the two sisters. And my mom always wanted to have another child, and for my dad. And so I came into existence. There's a story about that too, but that's not the story I've got to tell. The room.
That's
the
another
room,
show.
We're definitely going to watch
the
that
room-
story down the road. Elgon.
Yes.
Yeah.
The room
We'll
in
save
the
that
house.
for the romance novelists.
The room in the house where my brother died was in a farmhouse. It was close to where I grew up, which was the house my dad built, because my parents decided they weren't going to live in this house anymore. This farmhouse, my parents had lived there, back in the 40s when my brother died, and they moved and went to another farm, and my dad worked on another farm for a while, and then they moved back and they lived in the same house again. And when they moved back into the house, they kept hearing a dripping sound in the gutters outside of the room where my brother died. And my dad got up on a ladder and looked at it, tried to find where the dripping sound was, because they kept hearing this dripping sound at night when it was really quiet. And they never could find it. And even in the drought times of the summer, they would still hear the dripping at night, in this
Weird.
in this area.
Yeah, that's crazy.
And then my aunt was staying with my sisters when my mom went to deliver me, have me delivered at the hospital. And she's sitting there, in a chair, listening to the radio. And there's a bookshelf in the room. And around the time that I was born, a book fell off the shelf onto the floor by itself. And after that, there was no sound in the dripping. And my parents didn't even think about it for a while, because they had gotten so used to it. But they realized it about 2 or 3 months after I was born. My mom told my dad, "You notice that we haven't heard that dripping sound for a while." And my mom decided that it would probably, when I was born, my brother had departed and quit haunting the house. Either that, or I'm the reincarnation of my brother. So
that was actually where I was going with that. You exchanged places.
One of the two. But my mom always wondered, and and it's kind of strange, because my parents were Baptists, and Baptists don't believe in reincarnation, so who knows?
That's interesting that they even were considering that, knowing that sometimes it's what you personally experience that changes your
the other story's real creepy too, and I will tell it sometime, I swear.
The story of how you came into being?
Yeah,
is a creepy story? Okay.
And I doubt if my sisters have even heard that story, because my mom told me about it, and I asked my dad about it years later. My dad goes, "Yeah, I believe your mom believed that happened."
I believe your mom believed.
I believe she believed.
What in the world?
I think that's how my family deals with me. They believe that I believe these things. It's like, okay.
I'll take passive
Fine,
invalidation for 200, please.
Oh my goodness. All right, so I do have some video as promised for you guys. So just to kind of recap for those of you who have not seen the video or were not part of that conversation with Elgon and Christine, when I went down to New Orleans, I did get to stay in the Lafitte Guest House, and the Lafitte Hotel is the mansion that is right across the street from Lafitte's blacksmith shop, which is known as one of the oldest bars in America, but it was Lafitte's blacksmith shop. You know, every good pirate has got to have their cover, and so that was Jean Lafitte's. Very renowned as a pirate. And so, of course, he had to live somewhere when he was in town too, and so this is where Lafitte's hotel comes from. So the mansion itself was used as many, many things over the course of New Orleans history. It's been there for 200 years or longer. And so it's been a lot of things. And that's kind of true of all of the New Orleans properties, and why there's so much haunting is kind of like New England, where they've just been around so long and so many different people and energy have come through those spaces that they've got lots of stories to tell. And sometimes people hang around to tell their own tales. And that's the case with the Lafitte Guest House. And room number 21 is kind of known for having stories to tell. So a friend of mine that I love to go see when I go down there, and she helps me actually with some of the paranormal sides of my research, and, you know, the voodoo and the magic and the witchcraft. And she's a medium. She's, you know, has been her whole life as long as she can remember. And she likes to do paranormal investigations and see who she can talk to. So for the research that I was doing and being able to stay in that hotel, I thought, well, Willow is the perfect person to come with me. And so she met me at the hotel and she brought her stuff. And so we decided to set up and have a conversation with the guests that we expected to find there. And we were not disappointed at all. I was afraid that because I wanted the ghosts to show up, that the ghosts wouldn't show up, because that's my luck. But no, they were very obliging, and they talked to us. So we had the Necrophonics app that was set up, and it was coming through a Bluetooth speaker. And so in a little bit of the chandelier video, you'll hear some of that coming through. We did get to talk to a man. It was a man's voice that came through. Most of what you hear is kind of just gibberish and nonsense, but then every now and then very clear words will come through, and you will hear different voices depending on who's actually talking to you. So there was a man who told us his name was Philip something, you know, short. Phil was short for something, Philippe something. We asked him how he died, and he said he died in a fall. So that's really all we know of Phil. We asked him if he needed help crossing over. He said no, like he kind of just liked being there. I think he just liked having the company, like so many of the New Orleans ghosts. He was happy just being there. He was content with where he was. Then there was the little girl. And the little girl had the cutest, tiniest little voice that came through. She was little bitty girl, this, you know, toddler, a little older, little bitty girl, maybe 5, you know, kind of judging by the voice. And her name was Sarah. And we asked Sarah how she died, and she said she was sick when she died. And it made sense because the house at one point was used as an orphanage for the children whose parents had died of yellow fever. And so they were taken into this house as an orphanage, but the children would die as well. I mean, the epidemic was pretty horrific. And so it raged through that city. And of course, the children would die. So Sarah was apparently one of those victims. Now, when I went down, I knew what that house had been used for. I knew that there were likely children there. And so I brought a porcelain doll with me and a ball. I said, we're going to play. They haven't had anybody to play with them in hundreds of years. Maybe they just want to play. And Sarah did want to play. And apparently she was really excited that somebody brought her toys, because she latched on to me, which was really kind of an interesting experience for me. Willow, who's the medium, she could kind of, you know, she could feel that they were there. You know, there's this tingliness in your skin, you know, goosebumps, and your hair standing on end like you're standing too close to something electrical. And that was kind of interesting because we had actually scanned the room before with, you know, our the meters trying to find where the wires were and anything that was going to mess with it first. And so the center of the room didn't have anything like that. And so standing in the center of the room, we have, just goosebumps and hair standing up, and we felt just tingly, almost painful sometimes, and almost hurt. It was like almost like you were about to be shocked by something, like when you're standing outside in a storm and the electricity is building and there's going to be a lightning storm. It felt like that. But it was really never anything that we felt afraid of. We didn't feel any kind of animosity. We just felt like they were trying to let us know that they were there. And so Phil talked to us for a little while. Sarah wanted to play. She apparently liked to sit in the middle of the bed, and we would just stick one of the meters in the middle of the bed, and it would shoot all the way up to red, and it would just kind of stay there and pulse at that red, because that's kind of where she was hanging out. But then if I moved, she'd move with me. And so I had one of the meters, and if I moved with it, that meter would stop and the one that I had would go. And it was like, it would just kind of, as I would move around to different parts of the room, Sarah was following me. And so she was playing with me. And that was a lot of fun. And as we finished some of our conversation, I look up and I notice that the very heavy crystal chandelier is moving very slightly. But it was a sway that this massive, heavy crystal thing is moving. It's a little hard to see on the video, but if you focus on the chandelier itself, you can kind of watch it sway. It's very slow and very heavy, and it swayed a lot. But it was not swaying when I first got there. It wasn't swaying until we got into our conversation with them. But then I think Sarah liked that. That was kind of her way to show us that she was there, and so she kept doing it all the time. So it moved quite a bit. Now you would say, okay, well, maybe there was just somebody upstairs, somebody in the next room, big trucks moving by. No, because of Hurricane Delta, the quarter was almost deserted. And I was the only person staying in the mansion. Even the people who ran the hotel actually stayed in a different part of the building. It was an addition, a more modern addition on the backside of the building. That's actually where they lived. And they had gone to bed long before. They actually had to get them to come and let me in when I arrived. So they weren't even in that part of the house. I was the only one in the mansion. So there was nobody staying upstairs. There was nobody on either side. And you'll see by the size of the chandelier, the air conditioner's not going to blow this.
The chandelier is moving.
It was not moving before.
Can you move that a little bit more for us so that we can see it a little bit better?
There we go. There you go. And it did that little sway, and sometimes it would turn, and it would just kind of go back and forth. But that wasn't the crystals moving. That's the whole chandelier, and it's just shifting slightly. And I was laying in the bed in the morning, and you think ghosts are only active at night, but I woke up in the morning watching the chandelier moving above me and that meter going absolutely crazy. Sarah hung out with me for a long time. She stayed kind of in the bed with me. I told her a bedtime story about a lady from far, far away who came to bring gifts to Princess Sarah. So, told her a little bedtime story, and I guess she just decided to hang out. And then weird things started happening through the rest of our trip, and we realized that, spirits can kind of split their energy in different times. If they find somebody that they like, they can kind of attach part of themselves to that person. And apparently she did that to me. The air conditioning in the car would do really weird things. My GPS would do really weird things. And if I didn't have Willow kind of sitting there watching these things happen, I wouldn't have believed it either. The fact that the meters don't react to people, they only react to energy. But if I touched it, if I went to pick one of them up, it'd shoot to red and then it would go back down. Let us know that Sarah had decided she kind of just liked to hang out with me. And so even here, there's like weird things have been happening with my phone, because another thing that happened with Sarah was before I went to bed that night in the hotel, I decided that I was going to do some video for my students that wanted me to take video with the flash on so I could see if there were any orbs or anything in the room. And I had put my phone down, I'd set my alarm, put back on the home screen, all of that stuff, plugged it in, and then I remembered to do it. And so I had gone across the room to turn the light switch off. I was like, I forgot to do this. So turn the light switch back on, all the way back around to the bed, and I pick up my phone and the camera's on. I had not turned the camera on. I had just set my alarm and put it back on the home screen. It's the same routine I do night after night after night. I had long since turned that camera off. However, right before that, so I knew that they could touch things and do things. Because when we came back in from dinner, after we had been having all of those conversations, I had left the light on in the room. Because after all of that and the chandelier moving, I was not coming back from dinner at whatever late time and walking into a dark room. Just wasn't going to do that. Well, Willow noticed that I hadn't turned the light off either, but she didn't say anything. She kind of figured why I was doing it. There was no reason to say anything about it. But again, the people who own the hotel had long since gone to bed. They'd given me the code to be able to get back in if we had decided that we wanted to go out and do anything. After dinner, come back upstairs, turn the old key in the old-fashioned lock, open up the door, the light switch had been turned off. So ended up walking into a dark room after all. So I knew that they could mess with things, that they could touch things. And apparently Sarah thought that was cute. She's going to let me know that Bill was less interested in me, but Sarah was just, she's like, this is fine. I'm going to play with the lady. And so, she was funny. She was really cute when we were talking to her. So when I walked back over there and I had the phone I pick it up and the camera's on, it was like Sarah decided she wanted her 15 minutes of fame. She wanted to show off a little bit. We're going to play with the phone. And so she did. So I took the video of just the room in the dark with just the flash on and caught some interesting orbs, quite a bit.
Saw it. Yeah, look at them.
Oh, there they are.
And there's one here right at the end that shows up in the middle of the screen and then darts off. And I slowed it down frame by frame. There it was. And it does not come from the side of the camera. It literally starts bright in the middle and shoots off in one direction.
Wow.
And that video that's a snippet. That's like 25 seconds of a video that was about 2 minutes long that kept doing that through the whole thing. There were several videos that did that. So Sarah decided that she was going to play with the phone. She was going to let me know that she was there. So I had to be very nice to these ghosts because clearly they can do anything they want. And the funny thing is, I was telling Laura, I said, all of the things that I've been trying to do with like videos and pictures and things on my phone since then have had weird things happen to them. Like I go to download something.
The video.
Like
the video
today.
Downloading, right.
No, I tried to upload the book trailer for my takeover on Laura's page, and a minute and a half long book trailer or a minute and 20-second book trailer was all of a sudden 2 minutes and 30 seconds long. And the pictures and the audio didn't actually go together. And so I'm like, how the hell did this get to be 2.5 minutes long? I've never made a 2.5 minute book trailer. Wow. Like it was so weird. So I had to take it down. I had to re-edit it and put it together. And a couple of times as I've been working on book launch stuff, when I've gone to download something from where I've been designing the graphics to upload it, layers of it are missing. So I'll have like a background and maybe like a square and some of the words are there, but the other layers are gone. And then I go back to Canva to look at it. It's fine. It just didn't make it from Canva to my phone. And then I'll download it again and it's fine. Or I'll download it 2 or 3 times and it's missing different layers. And then eventually the whole thing will come back in. So she apparently thought that the whole thing with pictures and Canva. Oh, hi.
Black cat.
Oh, you're cute.
Hello, Katie. We gotta have a black cat on a Halloween show.
We would introduce them while we were. This is Theodore.
Hi, Theodore. Little Teddy.
Oh yes.
So do you think Sarah followed you home?
Oh, I know Sarah followed me home. She's been doing all kinds of things since I got here. Cool. And apparently that happens to me every time I go. And, Willow said to some people, they just kind of are like magnets and they kind of carry people around with them.
Yeah.
Every time I go.
Too. She lost her parents in the yellow fever. Maybe she thinks you're her mom.
I think so. I mean, I mean, I brought her toys. I told her a bedtime story. I tucked her in. I was playing with her. And she... Yeah, I mean, I can feel her around an awful lot.
And she's tech savvy now, so she's
tech savvy now.
Every other kid, you caught up fast.
Every other time. Exactly.
You start getting texts when you shut your door,
Exactly. But I've had that happen to me about every time that I've gone to New Orleans. Strange things will happen when I get back. And so, it seems that I always kind of pick up some sort of energy when I'm down there. Weird things would happen in our brand new theater at school that did not happen until I went down to New Orleans for spring break, and I came back, and we would hear footsteps on the roof. We thought we had a bunch of kids that were just kind of hanging out backstage in the backstage bathroom when they were supposed to be long gone from rehearsal. And the other director goes marching back there to give them a piece of her mind. There was nobody there. And we had both heard those kids. We're like, who the heck is here? I mean, we're talking about these kids and blocking and, like, who do we give these lines to? It's like things they didn't really need to hear until we as directors had made decisions. And we're like, God dang it. They're going to hear all of this stuff. And we don't need this drama right now. And she goes marching back. Nope, not a soul. When she comes back out of there white as a ghost, and she said, "Who did you bring home?"
Whoa!
Like she knew. She knew it was me.
Oh my God.
She knew it was me.
The ghosts want their story told.
They do. They love the attention, and if you think about it, if nobody's really they probably send out signals to people all the time, and it's just what you choose to pay attention to and what you don't. And so when they find somebody who's willing to listen and willing to actually acknowledge their presence, then that's just like people. You're not going to hang around people who ignore you. You're going to hang around people who seem to be enjoying your presence. And so same thing.
They have to know you're a writer.
Oh, yeah, sure. I mean, they know that I'm down there researching for a book, and they're like, hey, this could be fun. We'll research this.
There's part to be in your book. That's what they're thinking.
Exactly.
Can I be in your book?
I want to be in your book. I'm going to be, and who knows what will actually come into the book.
Sarah will be in your book.
Maybe she will. She might make it. I was telling Elgon at the time period that she died, she'd more likely make it into the Sylvie series instead of the Crescent City series because she died in the.
You should base a character on her. I like that idea.
Should be a little girl,
and she has a legacy. Yeah, lost to history.
Exactly.
Poor little thing.
She's been precious, and she's absolutely just the sweetest little thing. I don't mind her hanging around at all. She's good company, and she's funny, and she likes to play, and it's a little bit of mischief, but I can download a picture 2 or 3 times. It's fine. And she wants to play with the phone. I mean, think about all of the times other children take phones and take weird selfies and things like that. I kind of see it as that. It's like she's playing with the phone and it's like, oh, here, you can have it. Do whatever you need to do now. I'm done.
I'm looking forward to seeing the weird selfies.
I keep waiting on things like that to show up, and like videos I didn't know I took, and things like that. I wouldn't be surprised.
Right, totally, yeah.
And the more she gets used to it, I mean, now she figured out how to turn the camera on, but now she's actually figuring out how to mess with stuff. So it'll be interesting.
If you see a video of yourself sleeping, you need to call me and get out of the home.
Funny you should mention that. That actually happened to some people at the Andrew Jackson Hotel in New Orleans. There are ghosts in it. Yes. And they actually found things on their phone that were pictures they didn't take, but they had pictures of them sleeping. And their door had been locked and bolted, so no one had gotten in. And that house, just like the other one, happened to have some children who died in it. And they think it was the boys that were playing with the phone. There were little boys that they would hear running around and talking and laughing. And so they assumed it was the little boys that had done the phone and thought it'd be funny to take pictures of them sleeping. And so, I mean,
that's so
that has happened to people.
That's where it has what I call the chill factor. I get the chills on that one. Yikes.
Oh, no. That was a little weird.
Mode on him. You got to get your
check, please.
Back on
please.
Yes. We're checking out now.
Check. We're
Check
good
your
on.
phone.
Check
We're
your
going to go to
phone.
the double tree, the brand new double tree that has no hauntings at all possible.
Yeah,
exactly. Exactly. Oh, Leisha wants to know how long the little girl's been hanging around. She's been hanging around, since I got there on October 7th. So she's been with me, about, I don't know, a little over 2 weeks now, just hanging out. She just chills and does her thing, and she
don't let takeovers anymore, Sarah.
On Halloween, like Halloween might be a big night for you, Nola.
It could be a lot of fun. It could be a lot of fun.
We're gonna miss you so much.
Halloween.
That would be a good premise for a book. Have your main character, staying in haunted houses and collecting ghosts. And the
Collecting people, the ghost
character-
collector.
Yeah.
Exactly. Ghost
Yeah.
collector.
I
That's
like it.
kind of, and they just show up in different places doing different things. I mean, the ghost in the theater is still there. I mean, that's been years, and we still hear from that ghost. It's weird things still happen. You know, every show there's something that has been attributed to that ghost. The last show that we were doing, it was whistling in the sound booth. And I thought that Margaret was in the sound booth whistling, and I could not place the song. I was up on stage working on some props and sets and stuff. And I'm like, what are you whistling? I know that song. And then she didn't answer me. I'm like, I know she heard me. What are you
It was popular in
whistling?
1870.
I know. He walks in the door and says, I'm not whistling anything. Why are you yelling at me? I thought you were whistling. I wasn't whistling. I was coming from the booth. And she goes, there's nobody in the booth. It's like,
Wouldn't it be creepy if you walked into an antique store and they had a player piano, and the player piano just started playing that song?
that would be. It was really interesting stuff. So yeah, I've got my little ghost that hangs around and swings chandeliers and whatever else she decides to play. Now it's my phone. It's like once she discovered the phone, that's what she wants to play with. But yeah, Laura says, why can't I comment on your videos? I had to take it down. It was a mess. I don't know what happened. But that's why I took it down.
One word, Sarah had.
Yes, Sarah happened. It was like all of a sudden it's 2.5 minutes long. I've never made that video was never 2.5 minutes long. The fact that it downloaded that way was weird. So it just stretched all of the timing on the pictures out and the video, the sound, like Mike narrating. It was Mike narrating that video. Your narration was exactly the length it was supposed to be, but it only took up half the video. Like you've seen that trailer, you know that it goes right.
Yeah, for sure. I voiced that trailer. Of course I know it.
Voiced that trailer, you know it. So it only went halfway through. The pictures were still going. What the hell?
That's super weird.
It was so weird. Like, take that down. That's not how that goes. So I had to take it down and fix it. Because not only did it download that way, when I went back to iMovie to figure out what had happened, it was 2.5 minutes long. So it was one that I had downloaded before that was on my phone that I went back to get that had never been 2.5 minutes long. But when I go back to the original to download it again, it was 2.5 minutes long. So she's just been messing with stuff. It was kind of nuts. Really funny stuff. All right, we're going to do one more giveaway here really quickly for folks. Let's see. What did I say? Oh, yeah, here. And some of you have been posting these, so you can kind of keep posting these. Comment to win an ebook. Again, an ebook of your choice. Commenting to win if you have had a ghost encounter. So tell us about it, your ghost encounter. Even if it turns out to be kind of a Scooby-Doo thing where you thought it was a ghost and then it's not a ghost. So, it's the janitor at, in the gym, and you kids. We've all had this moment, so we thought we're creepier than they were.
Away with it. Doggone.
Those doggone kids. Those darn kids. We were talking about that last night with Jennifer Grazer Dornbush, and I made her choose because she's forensics writer and she's done screenwriting. I said, if you had to solve a mystery, would you do it with Jessica Fletcher from Murder, She Wrote, Sherlock in any of his incarnations, or the Scooby Gang? And she chose the Scooby Gang.
Of course.
You gotta choose the Scooby Gang.
Clearly the most fun choice of all the choices. I mean, clearly.
Best snacks.
Clearly. Best snack. I said, who turns down an opportunity to ride in the mystery machine, right? I mean, like, you gotta do that.
Exactly.
I mean,
Fred was so cute. Wasn't Fred the cute one?
Fred was dreamy.
Fred.
You liked Daphne, didn't you? We know you like Daphne.
You like
Of course,
Daphne.
I was Daphne. Of course. I was also a Ginger, not a Marianne person.
Oh, you're Ginger. Okay.
Of course,
Question.
You got me pegged.
So much. So, I mean, we all know that out of the Scooby Gang, the only one that was worth a damn was Velma. She's the only one who ever did.
She was the only one.
Here's the brains of the operation.
High quality.
Like if Velma hadn't been on that show, like so many travel agents and insurance guys and bankers would have gotten away with so many haunted crimes.
Seriously, they never questioned how the guy, that turned out to be the janitor, whoever it was that pulls the mask off, was flying around at the beginning of the thing. Like that, Holograms and stuff are always the
It's a
thing.
good little hunting situation. He didn't really belong there as a janitor. He was solving math equations part-time and then was like, and I engineered this broomstick that could fly.
Good will hunting.
Christine Davis,
the answer to that question. The answer to that question, Nola, is it's a cartoon.
There it is. There's the answer.
there's the
That's it.
answer.
That's the
I would have
answer right
said,
there.
I mean, I gave her the Benedict Cumberbatch Sherlock, and you know, that's the one I would have been tempted to spend some time with. Not really for solving crime. Screw the mystery. Just gonna hang out with him. You know, that's or you know, the Robert Downey Jr. Sherlock. Either one of those, it's fine with me. You know, we're gonna take our own sweet time solving that mystery, though, because you know, no need to rush through that. The person's dead.
You're like, are you sure we've gone over every single lead? Is there anything
The
we're
Robert
overlooking?
Downey Jr. one, the
think
Robert
we should have
Downey
Brent
Jr.
to
one,
talk about
I'm constantly waiting for him to transform into Iron Man, though. So
Yeah,
Right.
Yeah.
on those.
And then Benedict Cumberbatch turns into
I'm
Doctor
just-
Strange. We've got this
Yeah.
whole like Sherlock Marvel thing happening.
No kidding.
It'd be a lot of fun. It'd be absolutely a lot of fun. I have to put my glasses back on. I know. Contacts. Getting old. It's overrated. Getting old is overrated. So Nancy's got her ghost story in there. Oh, let's see. Sharon's in a ghost story in Savannah. Oh, Savannah's another haunted place with lots of great things. And hit orbs in your pictures too. Hey, it's fun when the orbs show up.
oh,
Like,
you go
Sure.
to St. Augustine, you'll have orbs in your pictures. It's
I love that.
It's almost guaranteed.
Nola, I have to take off. I'm so sorry. Because I'm here.
I'm going to too.
We're gonna head out.
It's
Who saw
bedtime.
that boy? Let me tuck her in.
Oh.
Yep, I'm gonna head out too, guys. I've got two little ones waiting for me.
Well, you guys head out. We're gonna wrap things up. This was so much fun. Thank you guys for hanging out. Guys, keep coming in the. We'll head on out. I know it's getting late for our East Coasters, and our commenters and all of that. And I'm going to choose some winners for Kemp Camp tomorrow. I'm going to let my Pacific Coast folks have some time to kind of get on and jump in those comments, because I always feel bad for the Pacific Coast people when things wrap up too early and they don't get a chance to really explore. I feel bad.
It's getting dark here, so you know.
Oh,
No,
yeah,
very
very
dark.
dark here.
It's very dark in Michigan.
Yeah, we're neighbors, Laura. Like,
We are. It's pretty dark.
hey, I'm waving at you. Can you see me?
I see. I'm heading south east.
There you go.
I'm going this way.
Bye.
There you go. Well, our closing slide here and our closing contest will be to subscribe to the Nola Nash Entertainment YouTube channel for a cool swag bag. So go on over to YouTube, subscribe to Nola Nash Entertainment. Got new swag, including lots of magnets and stickers and pins and all that great stuff. So go on over there to Nola Nash Entertainment, where the second line show
And
lives.
buy Nola's book. It is
Yes.
Ryan,
Congratulations on the book launch.
Yeah, come on.
Yay.
And then write a review for it, because you're going to want to give it a 6-star review.
Yes.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. You guys have been amazing, and all of you guys in the comments, whether you are live or watching the show later on, please keep those comments coming. I will go back in and I'll check those. And let me know what you think of Crescent City Moon. If you've read it, if you haven't gotten a chance to get the review up, please do that as well. Let's not forget about, you know, the older sibling here out of the family. And then, like Elgon said, please post reviews for Crescent City Sin. There are a couple that are up there for you if you need to know what it's about and what you should be thinking and expecting. So check those out as well. All right, guys, we're going to wrap it up. Let everybody get to bed. And, you know, I have to get up early in the morning and teach too, Laura. So I'm going to have to just, you know, go watch the Grease Paint.
Start chitlins.
Go back. Although maybe I should go like this to class to homeroom tomorrow and get them done.
See how it goes.
You should.
It could be good. You know, don't they all think their teachers are witches anyway?
They do.
All right.
That's true.
You guys have a great night. Thank you so much for joining us.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye, guys.
Happy Halloween.
Everybody.